Alright, so welcome back gentlemen to the second part of this tutorial series where we're gonna finish modeling our space station. So this is what we're gonna be able to achieve by the end of this lecture. And by the way, this is a tutorial series that will help you make this short film animation of this Space Shuttle Discovery launch into space. Alright, so let's get to work. Alright, so for that I'm gonna just duplicate the same base that we created over here using these fences, and we're gonna create the first one unit, and we're gonna be duplicating it a lot of times. So let's get to work. I think I'm gonna just duplicate this one, so Shift D, duplicate this object. Let's move it to the side over here, and for example let's give it something like 15 I think is fine. Alright, also we might SY scale it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be at the same size of that one. Alright, so over here I'm gonna hit Shift S, cursor selected, Shift A, let's start with the plane. I'm gonna just move it to the side. Also enable the snap tool, this one. Let's switch it to the vertex. Let me just snap it right over there. Same thing on the bottom. So now we got it right at that corner. And on the edit mode, I'm gonna just switch to the vertex, snap it right at the end. I'm gonna select again this one, Shift D, RZ 90 degree. Actually, we must do it on the other side. So RZ minus 90 degree. Like that, and let me just select again this unit, Shift D. I'm gonna snap it right at the end of that, Shift D to this one, and let's snap it right at the end of the other side. And now all we have to do is to expand this one. So I'm gonna just expand it to those corners. Excellent. Also, I'd like to do this. I'm gonna select this one, hit E and extrude it down a little bit, something like that. Also, we might insert another edge loop over here, just to add some extra layer of detail. So I'll just select the entire row. So let me just enable my screencast keys. So hit E and S, Shift Z, and go outside. So now as you can see, we got that nice inset. Also, I think let's Shift Z, let's reduce it back a little bit. Now it's perfect. Okay, so now let's add the other columns. So we can see that we have 4 columns on each side. So we can do this. So Control R, insert 2 edge loops. Actually, let's just touch with 1, and over here we can increase it to 2. Okay, S, Y, and actually we are not able to scale it because we're still on the individual origins. So we must switch back to the median point. So S, Y, and let's do something like this. Same thing on the other side, so R, Control R like this, insert it to 2, SX, and let's take it all the way to the side, just like that. After that, I'm gonna be selecting these 4 faces, hit E and go down. So this marks our first unit, but let's add the extra stuff. So we have these 2 cylinder shapes. So we can do this. I'm gonna select these 2 faces, Shift S, cursor to select it, and let me just exit that. Shift A, and let's go to mesh and go to cylinder, and just reduce this one by the half. So 32, I think it's 16, yeah, 16, or even down 12 is fine, because there is no need to have too much details over there. So I'm gonna SZ, scale it down like this. So let me just switch to the side. Fine. I think I'm thinking of another way to do this. But actually, let's do this. So RX, 45 degree. Let's move it, for example, right here. Starting point of it. Okay, I'm thinking of ways to put it right at the center over there. Also, let me just switch to wireframe. Select this one to that side. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 7.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's just think it should be right here. So select again this unit, Shift D, S, Y minus 1, and let's move it, snap it to the other side, which is right here. Okay, a little bit back. I think we're good. But over here on the top, I don't like it. You can see how it looks. Actually, I think I'm having an idea. So let's select everything, deselect everything. Or you know what? Let's select this first unit, X, C, and Shift to deselect those. Let's just move them to the side like this, for example, and do the same thing for this one. Let's move it to the side like this. Select everything, hit Control A, and bridge edge loops. So now as you can see, they are connected. We have that nice connection at the center. We must also bring it back, bring it down. I think that's perfect. So select this one, right click, shade smooth. But why we have that problem over there? Let me just see. I think because it's filled. We have that space over there filled. Let me go to the inside. Actually, we are not. So we can try this, select everything, go to mesh and normals, and let's recalculate outside. So now as you can see, it's fixed. Excellent. Also, I'd like to do another thing, which is to delete these faces. Can just delete these x delete faces. So now that shape is even more better. So I think scale x, scale z, sz, just a little bit expanded. I think now it's perfect. So select this entire unit, go to the top view, Shift D, and let's move it, for example, right there at the outside. Select both of those, Shift D, RZ 90 degree. So now as you can see, they are flipped, and this is exactly our shape. Let me just check. I think this is the way to escort the astronauts to the spaceship. Alright, so all we have to do is to merge everything. So for these, let me just over here apply that array modifier. Apply all the array modifiers, and we're gonna be joining all these pieces together so that we can have them just one unit. And after that, we're gonna be using the array modifier. So select all of these, Control J, now they are connected. Also for this one, yeah, select both of these, Control J, everything is connected. And lastly, this one, so Control J, everything is connected. So over here, let's add the array modifier. So we need to have it on the z-axis. So I'm gonna just set the x-axis to 0 and the z-axis to 1. Oops, just 1. Okay, fine. And we can just move it, for example, to the center. It's gonna be supporting the shape right at the center over there. And let's just see over here. So how much do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say, for example, 12. So 12, as you can see, the supporting column is a little bit huge. So S 0.75, or maybe we can scale it on the z-axis. So SZ to reduce its scale a little bit. Also, let's enable the snap tool, and let's snap it right at the center. Not to the center, but snap it to the base. I think now it's gonna look, it's fine. So lastly, what we need to do is to add, for example, I think this one is an elevator or something like that. It takes you from the bottom side all the way to the top. So we can do it real quick, just a basic cube. But you can see that we got a problem over here. So basically this unit starts from here, not from here. So if you want to fix this problem, we can just go back over here to the array modifier and reduce this amount to, for example, 0.9, 0.8. Yeah, 0.8 is fine. So also let's SZ, expand it a little bit. Fine. So now let's add that elevator. Can just add a basic cube. Just do it from here. Shift D, easy, Z, go down, snap it right to the bottom using so the shortcut for the snap tool is the Shift tab, and we can select the entire unit and S Shift Z, scale it way down. So we might move it to the left side, something like that. But actually, I'm not sure about this one because don't need to have it continuous. So I think let me just try HP separate selection, and for example, we might reduce that count, something like that. Yeah, that's fine. There's no need to go all the way to the top. So lastly, we need to add this one. So this object over here is going to be controlling the ship. So basically, this head over here is going to be so yeah, the ship is going to be controlled by this one. So after the release, this object is going to pivot and leaving the ship, allowing it to leave. So let's add that. So I think I'm going to just duplicate this one, Shift D, duplicate it. Okay, and let's tweak it a little bit. So for example, we don't need any of the stairs of the fences. So I'm going to just select this these 4 units and hit Control E to reverse the selection. Hit X and remove those vertices because there is no need to select them one by one. So this way of inverting the selection is really useful. Also over here, I think it's time to set it just to 1 because we don't have that problem anymore. All right, so now all we have to do is I'm gonna just delete this one, delete it, and instead of that, I'm gonna just select this face, hit E, Z, and snap it to the bottom, so that we can allow people to walk in here. I'm not sure about that, but I think this is how it works. So SY, make it thinner a little bit, or X by 90 degrees. Okay, let me go to the top view. Let's move it over here, for example, and let's scale it way down. For example, to something like that. Okay, let me just move it to the top view. Okay, then, even though it doesn't look perfect, but actually we must not worry about those extra details. We're not going to be able to see them. Actually, we're going to be able to see our base from here. So this is our location. Also for this object over here, you can see that it's just a cylinder shape. So let me just try to create it real fast, because this one's going to be controlling our object, our spaceship. So Shift S, cursor selected. Shift A, let's bring, let's start with the circle, I think. Circle is fine. Let's just cut it by 2. Okay, which is 16. Let me move it outside over here. Let's work on it. So first, I'm gonna hit E, or first let's fill it. So hit F to fill it, and hit E and go up, just like that. So let's go another up over here. E again, and let's try to do this. So I'm just trying to create something that looks interesting shape. Yeah, like that. As you can see, we're just extruding. And also for the fence, we got some kind of a fence. So I'm gonna select every other vertex, just like this. Okay, perfect. We got it well counted. So Shift D to duplicate those, and we can do this. So I'm gonna hit EZ, go for example to the top view, and let's select all those edges. This one is not selected. Alright, so as you can see, everything is selected. You can hit E and RZ to spin them like this. So now you can see that we gave them some kind of a space over there. Also, let me select this unit. L, Shift, Control E to reverse the selection, and hit E to extrude, and we can extrude down. But also S, Shift Z, and extrude something like this. Fine, so we got that. So actually what we need to do is to just duplicate this one, Shift D, duplicate this one, move it to that side, hit EZ, go up, select the entire unit, hit E, S, Shift Z, and go like this. So now we got it. Let's select the entire unit, scale Shift Z, like that. So now I think it's perfect. I'm gonna just move it up. Okay, so we got it. Maybe just reduce. So let me just select this one, Control E, and scale Z like this, move them down. So now I think it's perfect. Gonna just move it and connect it to this object right at the center. Alright, so now we got our space station. So all we have to do is to add the ship. So you can download it from here, from the link down below. I'm gonna put a link to the Space Shuttle Discovery model. You can just download it from here. And after download it, I already did that, so let's just save over here. And basically I'm gonna just extract it here, okay, and just get it. So I'm gonna go over here to File, Append, and let me go to the downloads, and okay, we got it. Double click. Okay, I'm gonna go to objects, and let's pick only the ship. I don't need the camera. Alright, so I'm gonna hit period so that you can check it, and there we go. So we got it. Also over here, let me just do some tweakings. Set, for example, all those to 0 starting point, and on the y-axis I'm gonna set it to 90 degree, minus 90 degree, minus 90 degree. And also we need to add the tank and the supporting fuels, or those two engines on the side. So we need to add them as well. Also I'm gonna bring a reference. So let me just bring that. As you can see, this one is textured, so it's ready for use. And also I have added the normal map so that we can add some extra details on it, which is really nice. All right, so let's add, I'm gonna just bring another reference of the other components. Okay, so I'm gonna be following this reference over here. So let's start with this tank fuel tank or something like that. So it's gonna just a cylinder shape. So Shift S, let's put the cursor at the center again. Shift A, let's bring cylinder shape. And for the dimensions, I would like to keep it low at the start because we might need to tweak it. And after that, we can add the subdivision modifier. All right, so let me scale it up a little bit. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than the diameter of this spaceship. You can also go to the side view, Control 3. I think something like this is gonna be fine. So SZ, and let's scale it way up. So actually, it must be over here, but I think that's the right size of it. All right, scale Shift Z just a little bit. So you know what, let me just bring it outside so that we can get the right proportion of it first, and after that we can tweak it. So EZ, or just E, take this one all the way to the top, but also I'm thinking of another way to do this. So we can, for example, scale this one way down, like this. Actually, there is a lot of ways to do it. And over here we can hit Control R and scale it way up, like this, and we can do this, Control B, bevel it like this, and insert those edge loops. But as you can see, because of the scale, so I think the scale is not correct. You can see that. So Control A, let's apply the scale. So now it's going to be working even better. Or it's something like that. But before doing this, let me just scale it up. Control B, let's insert, for example, 4 edge loops. I think this shape looks fine. It looks interesting. We can bring this one down a little bit, and we can check it from the side view. Control 3. I think it's fine. Yeah, I like it. So right click, sheet smooth. So we got that. Also, you might tweak it if you want to go the extra mile. You can add, for example, these bumps that we got over here, and also you can bake it, make a low poly version. But I'm gonna just go with this one. It's not a big deal, to be honest. So now let's work on these engines on the side. So we can, for example, just duplicate this one, move it over here, and let me scale it way down. Scale Shift Z, make it thinner. And also, as you know, as you can see from the top side over here, it's not bent, so it's straight. So we can select those and X and delete them. Delete those vertices. Fine, it looks nice. Might also scale Z a little bit up. All right, and also on the bottom we're gonna be working on it. Just trying to get the right scale first. So for example, this one, let's move it, Control 3, let's check it from here. You know what, let me just bring everything to the side. All right, so at this station, I'm thinking of just down a little bit, hit E and scale it up. Yeah, this is the global shape of it. All right. So next, what I'd like to do is to add the mirror modifier. Or you know what, we can do that later on. For now, let me just add some extra stuff. So for example, let me just keep tweaking it. So for example, let's bring this one up a little bit. And also over here at this side, I'm gonna increase, add another edge loop. And at this level, I'm gonna increase, for example, 4 edge loops. And Control B, bevel them. Gonna reduce that amount of segments, just like this. And let me just see if it's gonna be better or not. So E, scale Shift Z, and go outside just a little bit. I think it looks better. Yeah, on the bottom side, even though that's a little bit too much. So scale Shift Z, bring it back. Also, we might switch to the wireframe and select those. SZ, make it a little bit thinner. Yep, something like this. All right, so let me also check. So over here, we need to add those insets too. So we can do it real quick. So insert, for example, 4. Control B, 0.1. Actually, we must do it only to these edges. So Alt, Shift Alt to select all of those. Control B, 0.1. All right, and E, scale Shift X, and do the same thing. Pretty nice. Let me check the top side. So maybe this one is a little bit pointy, so let me check it up a little bit like that. Okay. And maybe we have to move it down a little bit. Alright, I think we're good. Also, we might add the same thing. We can add some insets to this fuel tank. So for example, this one, we can add another one at this level. Switch to the edge, Shift Alt to select both of those, Control B 0.1, and we can hit E, Scale Shift Z, just like that. Also, let me check the scale. Scale is fine. Alright, so let me check the bottom side. I'm actually curious about the bottom side of this one. So I think we should not leave it just like this. We can easy go inside, just create some interesting shape at the bottom, even though I don't think we got that. So now let me just combine these two, Control J, G. Let me just activate the screencast. So this G over here, this one, Control G. And what I'd like to do is to make a cut, because we're going to be adding the mirror modifier. So Alt to select those. Also let me go to the top view. And yeah, X, remove them. Also for the top side, we got that. This one, let me just delete it, and you select this one using the L key, delete. And after that, we need to make sure that the center of mass is right at the center. If it's not, we can do this, select these two. So this point over here marks the center of mass of our objects. So Shift S, cursor to select it, and Shift A, not Shift A, but set the origin to the geometry. Oops, not the geometry. So set the origin to the 3D cursor. So now we got it right over there. So I'm gonna add the modifier, which is the mirror modifier. And let's set it, for example, on the y-axis, not on the x-axis. So now as you can see, we got it automatically, which is fine. Alright, so we got it. So I think the last step is gonna be to add add some colors to it. Let me check. I'm actually worried about the scale. So whether we need to decrease the scale of this tank just a little bit, or yeah, let's do this. Something like this. I think now we got it perfect. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. So we created all the components in our scene. So in the coming tutorial, we're going to continue working on, we're going to start working on the fluid simulation. Let me just put it in place, and we're going to call it a tutorial. Maybe let's scale it way down a little bit. Alright, so we got it. So see you in the coming tutorial. Goodbye.